Welcome back to the second hour of Focal Point on AFR Talk. Brian Fisher is my name. The program is Focal Point. The network is AFR Talk. Don't forget, a lot of different ways we have for you to access content here. We post the video segments on our website almost immediately after they are done. We have podcasts available. We have apps for the iPhone, for the Android, for the iPad, so you can listen on the go. That's how I keep up with Focal Point and AFR Talk when I'm traveling, is through the app on my iPhone. So that's there. And if you happen to have a friend or a family member that would benefit from this program, from AFR Talk or Focal Point, that lives in a community where we don't have one of our radio stations, one of the communities where we don't have a network affiliate station, you can listen to us audio and video streaming at afr.net, afr.net. So let your family members and friends know that they can access it on the web. Now, there was a dust-up. I want to just give you a little bit of backstory on this. A dust-up at a shopping center in Texas. You might have heard about this. There were signs posted in the parking lot of this shopping center, no Muslim parking in the Westview Shopping Center. And there's just been this outrage over Islamophobia, and this is xenophobic, and this is racist, and this is not what's permissible in the United States of America. Now, I think they made a poor choice of words on the sign, but here's the backstory on that. This is a shopping center in West Texas that is across the street from a mosque. That's what the media isn't really telling you much about. It's across the street from a mosque, and they knew that because you're coming to the end of Ramadan, that on Friday there were going to be a large crowd of Muslims at this mosque to celebrate the end of Ramadan. And their shopping center is right across the street from this mosque. What does a shopping center have? It has parking spots. And the merchants in the shopping center were complaining that all of these parking spots for customers were being occupied by worshipers at the mosque. So nobody could find a place to park and come in and shop there. And so the owners of the shopping center were simply saying, look, this is for our customers, and anybody that isn't shopping here is going to be towed. They would have said the same thing if it was a church across the street conducting some kind of services at a high traffic time for the mall. And you might have heard about this. We actually have contracts. I don't know if you heard about this. We actually have contracts in Afghanistan with al-Qaeda-tied companies. Did you know that? Our military has actually signed contracts with al-Qaeda-affiliated companies in Afghanistan, and our military will not suspend these contracts. This is from Fox News. Judson Berger. The U.S. Army is refusing to suspend contracts with dozens of companies and individuals tied to al-Qaeda and other extremist groups out of concern for their due process rights. Criminally, they're concerned about due process rights when you have these insider attacks on our own soldiers. We train them, we give them the guns, they grab the gun, turn around and shoot us with them. Where's the due process in that? Despite repeated pleas from the chief watchdog for Afghanistan reconstruction. In a scathing passage of his latest report to Congress, Special Inspector General John Sopko said his office has urged the Army to suspend or debar 43 contractors over concerns about ties to the Afghanistan insurgency, including supporters of the Taliban, the Haqqani Network, and al-Qaeda. So that's what's going on over there right now in Afghanistan. And no wonder, if the director of the CIA is a Muslim, why would he want to interfere with that process? And we've talked about this before. The level of illiteracy in Afghanistan is just off the charts. I mean, these people can't read, they can't write. There's no functional educational system in Afghanistan. That's a huge problem if you've got expensive military equipment and you're going to turn it over to these people to run. They can't read the instruction manuals. Here's a story again from Fox News. The chief watchdog for Afghanistan reconstruction warned in a recent audit that the Pentagon is moving forward with a $772 million purchase of aircraft that the Afghan army cannot operate or maintain. So $772 million of aircraft we're going to send it to Afghanistan. The Afghanis can't even read the instruction manuals for these things. They can't operate them. They can't maintain them. They can't read any of the maintenance books. So $772 million just down a rat hole. Now, President Obama was asked last Friday and this is clip number 5, asked last Friday about al-Qaeda, and he was asked this question by one of the reporters about his claim that al-Qaeda has been decimated and its leaders are on the run. And he says to the president, how can you say that when you look at the terror threat that's led to us closing 21, 22, 23 embassies in the Arab world? How can you say that al-Qaeda has been decimated? And here is the president's feeble response.
In this same National Defense University speech back in May that I referred to earlier, is that core al-Qaeda is on its heels, has been decimated. But what I also said was that al-Qaeda and other extremists have metastasized into regional groups that can pose significant dangers. And I'd refer you back to that speech just back in May, where I said specifically that although they are less likely to be able to carry out spectacular homeland attacks like 9/11, they have the capacity to go after our embassies. They have the capacity potentially to go after our businesses. They have the capacity to be destabilizing and disruptive in countries where the security apparatus is weak. And that's exactly what we are seeing right now. So it's entirely consistent to say that this tightly organized and relatively centralized al-Qaeda that attacked us on 9/11 has been broken apart and is very weak and does not have a lot of operational capacity.
So this is just amazing to me. I mean, does that sound like an organization that's been decimated, has been busted up, and is on the run? I mean, here the president, it seems to me, just contradicts himself flatly from one paragraph to the next. Oh, no, they're on the run. They're on its heels. They've been decimated. And yet he uses the word capacity 1, 2, 3 times in one paragraph. They have the capacity to go after our embassies. They have the capacity to go after our businesses. They have the capacity to be destabilizing and disruptive. How in the world do you get a decimated picture of an organization with that kind of a statement from the president? So, he's laboring overtime to try to convince the American people that what he said back then is true. They've been decimated. They're on their heels. They're on the run, when absolutely nothing of the sort is true. And even his own speech winds up admitting that they're not on the run. They are not decimated. They're not back on their heels. They have the capacity to do enormous damage to our country and to businesses and to countries around the world. Back in 2.